Hey guys, I hope you guys have had a good morning so far. I got the little guy down for a nap, so there will not be anyone throwing over the camera this session. I'm sorry if there's any disappointment over that. Alright, so next thing we're going to do is start pulling in some of those eyes that are in the peafowl feathers. So what I've done is I've mixed yellow and green on my palette. So we're getting like a really bright, almost a lime green color. And we're just gonna kind of pick out random areas where we want those eyes to go. Don't space them too evenly. It's more fun if they're a little bit sporadic. You can add in more later. So we're gonna kind of rough it in. They're not perfect little circles, more like kind of a U here and there. We're going to come in with a dark blue. If you've ever looked really carefully at a peafowl feather, the eyes in there have browns, emerald greens, lime green. It's really stunning. And I live really close to Deanna Rose Farms. They have an actual peafowl, actually two of them there. So I've gotten to see these bad boys in person, and man, they are gorgeous. And the guy usually wants to show off, as they, as men like to do. So he usually struts his stuff. Now that we've got several of those placed in there, we're going to come in with a brown mixed into the green, and a little bit of that flesh tint that I talked about earlier. Okay, it's going to give you kind of a taupey brown color. We're going to start adding in just a little detail inside those eyes. If you're on there watching, send me a hello. I love company when I'm painting. So I don't have Nissa to keep me company today. I need some friends. Again, as you're placing these eyes in there, don't worry about making them in a perfect circle. It's going to look better if they're not. So you look through, you kind of think, well, looks a little bit bare up here. Let's get another one in up here. Maybe back behind his head. Okay, and we may go in a little bit later and add a few more. I'm going to pop back in there with some really bright lime green again. Because if you look at a lot of these photos, it's almost like an electric green that's around some of these peacock eyes. So I'm going to kind of show you. Pull in a little bit more yellow. We want it really lime green. So we're going to come back in here again. Just pop in a little bit more. So now I'm going to follow that with just a dash of very dark blue. So I have my cobalt blue and I have my Payne's gray. I'm going to mix those together, and I'm going to put a little bit of this brighter blue in there as well. So we're going to go back into the eyes and just do a little tiny dark blue detail. Now as I'm putting this in here, it's not a perfect circle. I'm just kind of popping it in as an accent. Man, I'm enjoying the sounds of summer. I thought about bringing this inside because I don't do heat, but my backyard has a lot of shade today, so you guys don't get to see if I've done my breakfast dishes or not. Okay, we got a little bit of blue in all of those. And now while I am using, hi Christy, how are you? I am using watercolors. This is all watercolor. If I'm doing work on a piece of furniture that is darker than this, sometimes I have to bring in other kinds of paints to get it to be lighter and to stand out, like mixing whites in there. But since this headboard is really light, just using watercolor. So now that I still have this really cool green on my brush, do you get your paints out too, Christy? You painter? All right, now that I have this green out, I'm gonna go ahead and put some more in the feathers. I don't know if you can tell from this far. Oh, thank you so much. That kind of made my day. Thanks, Christy. I don't know if you can tell, but our feathers are just all over the place. There's really literally every shade of blue, green, gray. We have some of those lighter ones that are kind of going to be in the background. And what's really fun is at the end, you get to start putting in the low lights, and that's when everything just pops. So we're still working on the layers right now. The lighter ones. One of the reasons I love feathers is you can be so free and careless with them. Thanks for watching, Christy. Okay, I'm bringing in some of that some of the brighter green. I'm gonna mix it up a little. Well, it's just not the same without my my toddler pushing my tripod down every other second. I don't even know what to do with myself. Yeah, how many grandkids do you have, Christy? I'm sure they keep you busy. You gotta go use your break to go get yourself some watercolors if you don't have them already and paint something. Five, nice. So holidays are nice and expensive. Well, you deserve a little tiny bit of a break to get your artistic vibes going. I'm sure you enjoy them. All right, as you can see, I'm just having fun. Anywhere I see that I want to fill in a little blanks, I take some of a watered down portion of the watercolors and fill in some of those gaps in there. Concentrate your color in the darker areas, the shadowed areas, and when you want to portray light coming through, you let those get watered down. Thanks, Anissa. I know you're up to some nonsense. I'm sure you're elbow deep in a project as well. knowing you. We all know you can't keep your hands off of those projects, and they're fantastic. All right. Awesome. I'm glad you're signing up. It's going to be fun. We're going to have a class in June for magnolias. So I don't know if you saw, Christy, I don't know if you saw the piece that Anissa and I worked on with the buffet. We did one with magnolia branches and flowers. And so next month, we're going to do a little tutorial on how to get those magnolias. It's actually really, really simple. So it'll be fun to have you. Of course you're up to something, Anissa. You're always up to something. All right, I'm feeling something bold on the other side. I'm gonna kind of kick it up a notch, get it a little bit darker. I'm bringing in some really dark blues, dark greens, a little bit of brown, and a little Payne's gray. So that gray just takes your colors down just a shade so they're not as vibrant and helps you to get those shadows. So I'm gonna be popping in some darker ones down here. I imagine this is where a lot of the shadows are going. So we can be a little bit more bold down below. Again, when you're doing your paints, there should be swirls, okay? It shouldn't be all mixed together. We'll probably paint my buffet. That will be awesome, Christy. Get it prepped. So by the time you're ready for that tutorial, you've got your base coat on. I know Anissa's already done a few little tutorials on how to work with the clay-based paints. So if you have it all ready to go, you can just do it right along with me. I think that'll be a lot of fun. One thing I like about watercolor is one pink feather. I might do that. I might pop that in there somewhere. One thing I like about watercolor is that there's a little edge of fantasy in it. You really can just, I don't know, you can kind of make things the way that you want to see them in your head versus exactly how they are in real life. It's like your version of it, you know? So do PFALs have every single color blue and green in them? In my world, absolutely. Hey Janet, how are you doing? Yes, you do need to buy some watercolors. Any hobby store, I get them in the tube. They look like this. No particular brand. Honestly, they're all pretty much the same. I think you can get a set for maybe $10 or $15. So as long as you have the basic primary colors, there should be about 8 or 10 in a set. That should be enough. The brand doesn't really matter. I think I got mine at Hobby Lobby, and I don't even know what I have here. This one is Master's Touch, so it works well. Yes, we're going to use watercolor on top of the DIY paint next month. And I think Joni's going to be doing some stuff with Funky Cold Patina. I'm kind of excited to learn about that. I am unfamiliar with the product yet, so I'm looking forward to checking it out with her stuff. Yeah, get the set, and then you can just get a set of brushes. Honestly, I think the biggest thing to think of when you're buying your brushes is make sure the tips don't look frayed. The nicer ones have tips that are kind of, I don't know, it's not really focusing and showing you. There you go. They're pretty smooth. But again, my brushes, I'm not gonna lie, they were pretty cheap. I think I got a set for maybe around $6 or $7. So really, it's kind of what you put into the watercolor. It's not expensive products, which is fun. It doesn't have to cost a lot. All right, so I'm gonna work back to the body now because I can't keep my hands off of these feathers. They're beautiful. We're gonna get some more cobalt blue, some black, and we're gonna come in here along the side that has shadow. We're gonna drag it in. I don't know if I can bring it up a little bit closer. I'm trying to see if I can have a better angle here. I'm working on it there. I think that might be better. So I've got some really nice saturated colors coming in here. So this guy's body is stunning. It is the brightest blue you've ever seen. And I do usually work off of one or more photographs when I'm getting an idea about, sorry if I'm shaking this around. Oh good, you got brushes already. Okay, well you're pretty much set. You just have to get your watercolors. So this guy, like, he almost looks electric blue. It's just fantastic. So there we go. We're gonna pull some in down here, and I really want to get some of that Payne's gray in and bring that up as well. So don't mix too much. Bring it up, swirl it in, and blend. Okay. Gonna kind of come in here. This is one thing to think about in watercolor is, oh, thank you so much, Christy. One thing to remember is that it's very hard to get white back into a painting after you've covered it up. Yes, there are white watercolors, but I kind of consider that cheating just a little bit. So if you want to designate an area that light's shining on, to keep your original white is really the best way to do that. So as you're coming in from your shadow, you drag your existing color here and drag it into the middle so it fades out. So as you can see, there's very little bit. I'm going to kind of rinse out, dry it off, and I'm going to drag it in here. I'd like to see it be a really gradual, and you can see now, I don't know if you can see it from this angle, but it is dripping, so I kind of keep moving my brush around. When we do the magnolias, I'm thinking that I'll probably have it on a flat surface and figure out a way to get the camera to look down, because with magnolias it's really fun to get a lot of saturation in certain areas and watch it pool and kind of dry, and that's where you get a lot of your really cool watercolor effect. I probably will end up putting this headboard down at some point and finishing up the little details. Sometimes cheating is good, Anissa. It's not always a bad thing. I cheat too. You know, you've seen me cheat. I've used white. Every good artist cheats. That's what I've decided. You cheat sometimes. I like that you share your cheats though. I feel like that's very big-hearted of you. I appreciate that. Okay, so now I'm pulling some of the color has gotten a little, I'm kneeling here, I'm getting really dirty, has gotten faded out up here, so I'm going to go ahead and rinse my brush a little bit. I want to pull some of the feathers out without, let's see, we're going this way, let's kind of zoom in that direction, there we go. Yeah, I think laying it down would be a good idea. We did do that for the one that we worked on together. We laid it flat. So hopefully you have some good helpers to help you put it down. So I'm going to bring kind of this less saturation out here, but extend it just a little bit, because I really like to fade my pictures outward. Alright, I kind of like it to look like it's disappearing into nothing. So for these up here, they're less distinct, and as they dry, they'll be even lighter. So now as I've been working on the feathers, these little eyes have gotten a chance to dry. So before I wrap up this particular video, I'm going to go back in and show you how to get a little more detail around the eye. So we'll give it a couple more seconds. Most of them are pretty much done. So one color I haven't done yet is kind of a foresty, mossy green. So I do want to pull some of that in. So to get that color, I'm going to come into the Payne's Gray, do a lot of that, and I'm going to come over here near my brown, and I'm going to pop in a little yellow. So I want kind of a dirtier green on this one. See, we have a lot of bright blues in there. I think this might be akin to Bob Ross painting that giant black tree over his perfect sunset. People are gonna be like, no, don't cover the pretty colors, but it'll be good. We're gonna come in here with some of this green. I like that green, that's pretty. Very olive. Very almost 70s green. Okay, as you can see, pulling in some yellow, some browns, and I'm running out of my Payne's Gray, but a little bit of that too. Okay, and as you're coming out, it fades out again. Saturation starts coming out. I'm going to pull a little bit of this green into the bottom ones. And the fun thing about watercolors is it all blends together so beautifully. I'm not familiar too much with working with chalk or clay-based paint, but it seems like kind of the same thing. Hey Leah, how are you doing? Thank you. Thank you for watching. You got anything cooking over there? Any projects? Hey Jennifer. Oh, I love getting your responses. You're like the best cheerleader. All right, we're getting some of that green in here, and I'm just kind of getting a little bold with it. So you can see some of these are starting to drip a little bit. It's cool, I got it under control, I'm ready for it. Jennifer, are you ready to do magnolias next month? Okay. We're gonna kind of start getting some of this green in here. I want to muddy it up just a little bit. There's a lot of white showing, so I'm going to come in here and kind of blend it outwards. We don't want a whole lot of white next to the body. There should be kind of a saturation of feathers back there. So, oh, look at this guy. He got neglected. How sad. Okay. I definitely paint cows. I love cows, and I love any animals with horns. It's just so much fun to do like the horns, like if you do an ox or something like that. Janet, so I will definitely put that kind of up at the top of the list of one of the next things I'll do a video on. They're just a lot of fun. I do love doing cows. Well, the fun thing is, Jennifer, you don't need to know how to do stick figures. We're not going to be tackling that, so you're in good shape. Just a bunch of swirling colors around in an artful way. That's what we're going to be doing. And I don't know if you guys caught my first videos or not, but go back and read them. I have some advice for you on how to look at your paintings. You know, they're all going to look like hell, like probably the first, I don't know, for quite a while into the project. You think, oh my gosh, this is a mess, this is a misery, I suck, I'm not an artist. Push through it. Every single piece of art that I've done has looked absolutely hideous at some point. And a lot of times one that I absolutely hated, I put it away in my storage room, and then I would come back later, sometimes weeks later, pull it back out, tweak it and it would turn out spectacular. It just needed a fresh eye. So, all right, I'm gonna leave that area alone for now. This other part, you know, I'll do later. I'm not gonna keep you guys on here for hours. Okay, Janet, I'll definitely tag you. I'm excited about next month, and then on my own page, I'll probably be I'll try to put something out for the cows also in the next month. Who knows, it might be sooner because I like painting them. All right, so we're gonna come back here in the eyes again. If you look at peafowl feathers, there's actually a lot of definition around those. They're, you know, that cool mechanism to protect the animal from getting eaten, because they're supposed to look terrifying. So they've got these magnificent eyes. So what I've done down here, I have a problem with pushing through. Well, you know what? Anissa will help you push through. I mean, she's fantastic with pushing through. She tweaked and tweaked, and then her stuff always turns out stunning. So I think you're going to enjoy her class. And the other thing is, Jennifer, is a lot of times when you think everything's going to hell, you're like, oh my gosh, this is ruined, I'm done. A lot of times it ends up being even cooler than you originally anticipated. It takes its own spin. So it's kind of fun that way. All right, so we're getting our dark gray in there. Just kind of a black almost. And I'm gonna pop some detail down in under. I think I'm gonna switch up brushes for this. I'm gonna go a little bit smaller. A little bit smaller. All right, we're gonna come down under here. I don't know if it translates because I'm outside and it's kind of bright. I'm gonna try to pull it in and do it. So I'm just kind of dragging a little bit of shadow up and around some of these. It's not a full circle. Just a little bit down below. We kind of want to accentuate them just a little bit. I don't know if that's showing up. Well, you're in good hands, Jennifer. All right, I'm gonna pull that back because I think my coffee's worn up. My hands are shaking. I won't try it. All right, I'm just gonna keep popping in. This brush is borderline too big, but I think it'll work. Okay. Moving down again, itty bitty. I'm going to really saturate that black with some of the blue. So it almost looks like a brighter navy. We're just going to pop just a pop of that bright navy in there. Oh, Anissa, I screwed up your headboard. You're going to have to fix it. My hands get really dirty. I touch everything. All right. So, bright blue, just pop it in.